Dave, and today I'm going to talk about Riverside's Out of Myself. This was their debut album from 2003. Now, if you're into your progressive rock, especially from bands outside the usual UK or US scene, then with this one might just blow your mind. Riverside are a Polish band, and this album was a quietly monumental album that really changed the game at a time when prog rock seemed rather stuck in the past or leaning too heavily into the metal genre. Instead, they gave us something totally fresh. No, it's an introspective, deeply emotional journey wrapped in atmospheric, heavy instrumentation of really the highest quality. Starting with the opening track, The Same River, those haunting, hypnotic guitar chords tell you that you know you're in for something special. Now, this just isn't another prog album, it's really quite an awesome journey. And it's not all about showing off technical chops here, though there is plenty of that. No, this album digs deep into themes like isolation, personal loss and self-discovery, drawing you into this inner world that feels both intimate and massive at the same time. Now, what's so impressive about Out of Myself is how it strikes that perfect balance between technically complex and emotionally resonant. The whole album is really an emotional odyssey, really, and the band moves seamlessly between the quieter, more introspective moments to those heavier, cathartic outbursts. And it's all done with purpose. Nothing feels out of place, as each track is part of this larger narrative arc that just keeps pulling you deeper into the emotional core of this album. Take the song Lose Heart, for example. Mariusz Duda, who handles the vocals and bass, sings these simple yet powerful lines. I don't know where I am, I don't know where I've been, but I know where I want to go. That right there is what this whole album is really all about. It's a kind of existential journey, trying to find clarity in the middle of chaos and confusion. And the lyrics throughout the album seem to have that same feel. They're sparse, but powerful, leaving space for the music to really breathe and take centre stage. I like that. Speaking of the music, let's talk about the band for a second. Instrumentally, these guys are absolutely on point. Piotr Gozinski's guitar work is just stunning. His use of delay and reverb creates these wide, atmospheric soundscapes that give the album its emotional depth. Now, his solos are emotional and not just technical fireworks. And you've got Piotr Kozłodarski on drums, whose playing is subtly shifting from intricate polyrhythmic patterns to these driving, straightforward beats that push the heavier sections forward. And Michael Lepage on keyboards. Man, he's a secret weapon here. His ambient textures and melodic lines tie everything together, creating this expansive, really almost cinematic vibe. And the other thing that really stands out about this album is how well it uses dynamics. The album knows when to be quiet and when to explode. It builds tension through these quieter moments. Tracks like I Believe with its delicate guitar work. And when the heavier sections hit, boy, they hit hard. That's why this album never really feels like it's overindulging in prog excesses, even though it's full of long evolving compositions. It's really all about the pacing, letting each song unfold naturally without rushing or dragging it. Now, the production on the album is another thing that deserves some attention. It's clear, but never sterile. Each instrument has its own space in the mix, so you can really hear all of the details. And that's crucial, because really, this music is all about creating that mood. The use of space and reverb makes you feel like you're floating through this vast emotional landscape, and yet it's all anchored by that strong rhythmic foundation. Juda's bass lines in particular add weight without ever overshadowing the more delicate parts of the arrangements. But what is interesting about Riverside is that they didn't just drop an amazing debut and fade into obscurity. Out of Myself quickly developed really quite a strong cult following in prog and metal circles, and over time it's come to be seen as one of the most important prog albums of those early 2000s. That's because it offers something timeless. Even listening to it today, more than 2 decades later, it feels fresh. Those themes of isolation and self-discovery still resonate, maybe even more so now than when they first came out. And musically, it's got this enduring quality, combining elements of prog, metal and ambient music in a way that's not just unique but influential. The emotional impact of this album is another reason it's stuck around. It's not just about showing off how many time signatures you can cram into a track, though the musicianship here is top-notch. No, this album connects on a deeper level. It's introspective, it's melancholic, but it's also searching for something, hope, clarity, direction, who knows. And that's why people keep coming back to it. It's an album that invites repeated listens, and each time, I guarantee you will find something new. Now let's zoom out a second. Out of Myself wasn't an instant commercial success, but it laid the foundation for Riverside's career. And if you fast forward to today, their latest release, Identity, shows just how far they've come. That album takes the emotional core out of Myself and expands it, offering a more socially conscious take on modern identity and disconnection. If Out of Myself is this deep dive into personal turmoil, Identity feels like Riverside zooming out, looking at the broader world and where we fit in it. Fascinating to hear the contrast when you listen to these 2 albums back to back, almost like watching the band evolve really in real time. So whether you're a long-time fan of Riverside or just discovering them now, Out of Myself is a must listen. Looking back, it was a landmark debut that not only set the stage for their future success, but also helped revitalise progressive rock genre in the 21st century. It's an album that sticks with you long after it's over, and it still feels just as relevant as it did when it first came out. If you haven't heard this album yet, do yourself a favour and take a dive into it. You won't regret it. And don't forget to check out Identity too. It's the perfect way to see how far this band has come. Like the video and subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on future releases. And until next time, thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you all again. Bye for now.